Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first interview during Thrive in Uncertainty, Profit and Pivot Now. I am so excited to have you all on this with us right now. Just a few housekeeping items. First of all, I am streaming live into our private Facebook group, which is Thrive in Uncertainty. I am also live in my private group from Hello to Closed, and I'm streaming live on LinkedIn. I can only monitor one set of comments though. So I will be looking at the comments that are in our Thrive in Uncertainty group. There will be plenty of time for Q&As, and we are so excited to get this going. Now, just a quick introduction of who I am and why I put this together for everybody listening today. So I help entrepreneurs and small business owners close more leads by mastering their one-to-one sales conversations and implementing sales processes that create a high-performance environment. Okay, so this is why I'm here, and I decided to put this together because I felt like, oh my gosh, how can I make the greatest impact right now and help as many people as possible? So I went out to my market and asked some of my friends and colleagues and fellow business innovators, how can we support everyone right now? And so very quickly, and under just a few days, we pulled together Thrive in Uncertainty. So I hope that you enjoy it and that it provides you with quick things that you can do right now to pivot your business so that you don't lose momentum in 2020. Okay, so without further ado, I want to welcome my friend and amazing business owner, Kari Willis. She is the co-founder of Team eFactor, and Team eFactor is a huge branding and event company for production, marketing, and execution of all your live events. And right now, she is pivoting and offering some virtual events. So I am super excited to have her here, and I hope that you find her information really valuable. So, Kari, hello.
Hi, Michelle. Thank you for having me. The comfort of our homes, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
Learning to figure out how do we do all this now, right?
I love it. So I just want to start out with allowing the group to meet you. So if you could just do a quick introduction of who you are, that would be fantastic.
Excellent. Hi, everybody. Great to have you here. I am Kari Willis, and currently a co-founder, as Michelle said, of eFactor, and we have been in business for almost a decade now. We're out of Southern California, and we provide event production, marketing, and brand activation to companies, and have been doing this consulting and helping people with their events, whether they be any size. We do everything from a 50-person networking event up to 1,000 people conferences. So it's super fun. We love it. Obviously, change of times, which we'll talk about today for business, but coming up on an anniversary of the business here in May, but we love it. We love the connection of people, which is why I'm excited to do this as well, especially in this time, is really connect with people, because I'll tell you what, telling me I can't leave my house is like torture because I love interacting with people. And that's why we do have the business that we do, is because it's really about that, the experience, right? And it's something that I thrive off of, is having people connect and providing people that experience. So during this time, we all have to pivot and figure out a new way to do that experience.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yes, we all need to pivot. And what I love about you as a business owner, as a friend, as a business innovator, is that like nothing ever stops you. Like ever.
No.
I mean, you just
all the time, girl.
Right? I mean, you just come at things like, we will get this done and we will do it well. And that is like one of my most favorite things about you. So can you tell us a little bit about a new event that you have contracted with since, all of this has gone down, that now you're providing some virtual assistance? Because I think to get everyone's mind kind of around the idea of taking a previously scheduled live event and pivoting it to online, I want them to kind of understand that landscape a little bit.
Absolutely. And I think before I get into that, Michelle, I'll talk about kind of why we pivoted and why that's important right now, right?
That would be fantastic.
I mean, I think a big piece is when this all happened, just like all of you, yes, I'm a go get it. You're right. Don't stop, go make it happen. But there was fear. right? All of us, the minute this all happened. And the first thing that happens to all this when we get the unknown and the uncertain is we stop and we freeze in fear. What I would encourage you to do is notice that and fix it, right? Is don't stay in that place. That's the worst thing we all can do right now is pivot, move forward. What can we do and what can we control? There's a lot we can't control right now. And instead of sitting, watching the news, going down that rabbit hole, getting worried about what we can't control, when will this end? When will live events be back? Let's go and look at what can we do. Right. So to your point, that's always been where my mentality shifts. Yeah, you have to work on it every morning. It's not like I just wake up with everything going on and been like, but I work on getting my mindset in the right place every morning, which that's where we went to. Is like, what is that low hanging fruit? What can I pivot to with the skill set we already have, the clients that we have, the capabilities that we have, right? It was really focused on our clients. It's not about us, right? At the end of the day, if you focus and we all focus on each other and how we can help our clients or our community right now, that's what will get us through this. And so what we started to look at is, what do we have? We've got a full AV team. We've got all the capabilities. We know what goes into an event. So why not take it virtually, right? What can we do from the comfort of our own home? And a lot of our clients were getting worried they had to cancel. Well, right? Again, this pivoting, a lot of the pivoting goes back to what solutions can you solve for people? If people want an event, they want that interaction, they want that experience, but they can't get out of their house, then let's bring it to them.
Kari, can I interrupt you real fast? What does an event do for a brand? Because that's like a really important piece here, because, some people are going to be listening and thinking, okay, well, I've never done an event before, or maybe I've done an event, but I don't really understand like the top priority of this right now. But you're the perfect person to talk to about this, because events brand businesses. And right now is a huge branding opportunity to support our audience, like you said. So what does an event mean to a brand?
Yeah, absolutely. Branding is a key element events are a key element to your branding, right? There's a lot of elements that go into brand, whether it be the logo, whether it be what's the messaging behind your brand, right? We see it in social media right now, right? How are you presenting your brand from that first person? An event is the extension of that. It becomes that human interaction. Right. And we always say an event is that human interaction for you that creates that brand loyalty. We really feel that event is where that happens, because think about, who this brand is, about them, but until you meet it in person and you have that human element to it, that really differentiates the relationship. Right. And I think that's the big part we see with events. And we always say, that is why the E is in E factor, is the experience, right? Is that relationship you bring them. And that is why we feel you can still do that with a virtual event during these times. Now, I'll be very clear. Do virtual events replace live events? They won't, and they can't, because of that human element to it and that interaction face to face, right? That I'm personally craving like nobody's business. And I think after all of this, we all will be, right? I do believe that live events are just going to skyrocket after all of this, because everyone's going to want to get out and get back out on the road and go see people. But with virtual events, it's, there's some things you need to look at. Look at your clients, look at your content. How can you get your content delivered in the best possible way for your clients right now? And then if you've never done an event before, a virtual is a great place to start, right? And it's what we're also saying. Those are the two type of clients we've been talking to and working with, Michelle, is really people who have big events that cannot happen. How do I flip it? How do I turn it into a pivot into a virtual event? And then secondly, is we're getting these people who are like, I was thinking I'd do a live event next year. Well, great. Start now with these virtual events. Start small, because you can. And the investment doesn't have to be as big. With virtual.
That's such a good point, Kari, because right now, kind of the motto is nurture now, sell later, right? That's a huge, we can all take a little bit of that. Like, sales will still happen right now, but the opportunity to nurture and serve your community right now and your audience is huge. And I think, yes, a virtual event is such an amazing idea. Can you give us an example of how you're taking a live event and packaging it for virtual, like what that transition looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of that, there's a different types of transition that we've been doing, but a lot of it is going back to and looking at what are the key elements that happen at your live event that you need to take virtually, whether it be breakout rooms for different sessions, we can do that. Whether it's sponsors, right? That's a big one. A lot of people have come to us with saying, what do I do? I have people who've spent all this money to sponsor my live event. I don't want to lose my sponsors.
Right.
I already have money in. How can I pivot so that I can keep that money but provide the value to my sponsors? Well, with our event production that we put on, not just a webinar, right? A virtual event is very different. We can do rolling graphics, just like you think ESPN or Fox when you're watching either of those during a game and you have live event, like live scrolling on the bottom. We can do that, right? There is all these elements that we can do that are still available for them. Live question and answering, right? So there's that human interaction, breaking out into those sessions, giving your sponsors. A lot of people are like, well, how do I go more branding? We can even send your speakers a green screen and we can put them on screen and put branding behind them. And we handle all that from our facility. So it's kind of nice because there's so much capability. So the first thing that we look at is we ask people, do you have the audience? Do you have the content, right? Mm-hmm. Content is king right now. We all know that.
Yes.
Right? Exactly. And then really, do you have sponsors? And what is that human interaction that you're looking for? I mean, a fun one that people have still been using us for, which I love, is still sending out swag bags. We can still mail right now. So whether they get an agenda in the mail, people are excited to walk to their mailbox when they're stuck at home. So you can have an agenda that tells them exactly how to do the question and answer, live question and answering, tells them the agenda, makes them feel part of the experience. And that's the key, I would tell you, between a virtual event and a webinar. Webinar, a lot of time you're talking at the people, and what people are craving right now is the experience and connecting. And that's where, when you take it to a virtual event, we can do that human interaction.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I mean, right now, if I got like my doorbell rang or I went to my mailbox and I got some swag bag for an event, I would be like, oh my gosh, it's almost as good as a real hug in real life.
Right? Human hugs. We'll send virtual hugs. Right? I know. It's so true. It is so true.
I noticed you packing, special bags for your clients the other day. Can you tell us what you put in it, just as like an idea starter for some people listening?
Yeah. So, I mean, I wholeheartedly believe right now, this is where the human element of we're all in this together, right? With our clients, we are emailing them with strategies to pivot before they're even asking us. We've just sent out care packages, and it's not, hey, I'm asking for your business, as you were saying about sales. It was, hey, something to make you smile during this time, because right? Like, we can't lose essence of everyone going to this dark side, oh my gosh, gloomy day. I can't leave the positive personality and what that means for E-Factor and what that means for me. And I'm going to keep that going with my clients. So yes, there was a royal toilet paper in there, of course, right?
How did you find it?
I can't tell you my secrets. But like little things like that. Stress relief tea and liquid IV, things that keep our immune system happy. But it was really just a message to say, hi, we care about you. We know we're all in this together and we're going through this with you. Right. And I think that's important right now.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love it. And I like how you're talking about like what you need right now to actually do an event that's way different than, a webinar, or even what we're doing right now. And so the audience, content, sponsorship, the ability to do some swag bags. I mean, those are all really good. So anybody who's listening right now and you fit into those, parameters, like just take note here, because this is a really powerful way to stay connected. I mean, everybody is in their homes right now. And I mean, I've registered for more online events, more webinars, more master classes than I ever have in my entire life in this last week, because we were craving that interaction. So it's really important that people understand this is a great pivot to profit opportunity. And I just want people to really consider taking this as, an option here. Now, if another thing is, if someone has canceled their event. Let's talk about that. Like, how can they reapproach it? Like, they've already canceled, but now they're listening right now and they're like, shoot, like, how can maybe I pivot and go back and maybe undo? What would you say to them?
Absolutely. I think that happened early on with all of this. Some people did cancel. On that, I would tell you postpone, postpone, because people are excited for something, right? We need something to look forward to, and live events are that way. But yes, if you did cancel early on, what I would say on that is you still have your mailing list. You still have your contact list. As we're all learning right now, if you don't have one, that's your bread and your butter right now, is having that contact list, right? Is they still value you. They still want to hear, you still have content that you were preparing for that event. It hasn't gone away. So very easy way to pivot is get back up to them and say, you know what? We don't want you to wait. We want to come at you. We want to serve you now, right? And that is big right now for people. I know, because I'm also, like you, attending other events, or we're supposed to attend events. So I'm watching with a very close eye how a lot of people are transitioning right now and what's working well. And the best thing that I am seeing is figuring out, how do I serve my people right now? So if you don't go to a huge event and need a big production, provide them content, use your mailing list. But it's not too late if you've canceled to now go to a virtual, or do small virtuals. If your event was supposed to be 2 full days, we're talking to a lot of people looking at a couple options. One is make it a week long and only do it 2 hours every day, or make it a month long and do it once a week for 2 hours. However they feel best, that will connect. Because let's be honest, with people having their kids home and working from home, sitting in front of the computer for 8 hours, no thank you. One, I don't want to. Like, you won't get me to sit and focus on a webinar for 8 hours. Two, we all have kids. Well, I do. Not everyone has kids, but you've got other distractions happening, right? And things going on that you need to focus on. So to shorten that content and be really cognizant of your audience, right? Don't make it about you, make it about them, understanding their situations, pivot a bit. If it was a 2-day event, shorten it. Right? Do it for 5 days and do it in the morning. We've had a few making it fun, doing it over coffee, doing it happy hour, right? Figuring out what you can do that makes it fun for people, so that we have to remember they're sitting in front of a TV or computer screen.
I know. You know, I've been plugging into what I've signed up for and just putting it on my phone and going for a walk with my dog or my kids or something. And that way, like, my body's still moving. I'm listening to the content. I get away from the screen a little bit. So you're right. There's so many different opportunities how you can take your coffee, or your coffee time, your wine time, your walk time, and engage in these like really unique ways. I think one thing we should talk about is pricing for events like this, because you know, we all still need to keep the lights on, pay our employees, right? And keep moving forward. It's super important.
Do everything we can.
Right?
Yes.
Like, I am paying for events right now. Like, the costs are reduced because clearly they're like virtual versus live, but I am personally paying for events. And when I click that pay button, like, I know I'm supporting a small business to be there at the end of this. And so I don't want people to be scared to charge for an event. And I was hoping you could kind of coach everyone listening right now of what, you know, pricing structure kind of looks like to get their audience engaged, but it's not a live event, so it can't be the same pricing. Like, how are you handling that?
No, absolutely. It's a great question. It's one we're getting a lot, and kudos to you with your mentality on this one about, right, is still investing and still supporting the small businesses. I'm a big believer in that too. We are trying to do what we can to help. Obviously, a big shout out I have to do to all of our vendors from live events, because I know this is a tough time, and anything that we can do for them or securing them for future events, we are doing, because it's not easy. But yes, pricing is a big one. It depends on the event. I will tell you, of course, it's always over, but the beauty is for those of us attending these events, because guess what? The content in most cases isn't changing. You're getting the value of amazing content. Yes, we're missing that human interaction there, but you're getting, I mean, there is so much out there. Last night, I almost got overwhelmed trying to figure out where I was spending my time this week, and investing in myself and learning, because that's a big piece of right now. But we're not the only ones, Michelle. There's a lot of people out there who haven't lost income during this time, who
Right.
still have actually added time to their schedule to
Mhm.
invest in themselves or want to attend a conference. So yeah, it is business at the end of the day. So don't feel bad about charging. A lot of people are like, do I have to go to everything for free? It's like, absolutely not. We need the economy to keep
Right?
going,
Yes.
right? We need people to invest and spend in the economy. That's why small businesses go pick up to go food. It's the same concept here. But yes, a lot of time too, even though people are reducing their fee on their webinar, their attendance is going up because people who couldn't get out of the office, who couldn't travel, who didn't have to pay for hotel rooms, things like that.
Yeah.
Also too, we're finding some of our clients are able to get the speakers that they couldn't get to come and speak at their live events. So if anything, content is going up and what you have access to for less cost. I mean, that's a win-win. And by doing so, you're also supporting a business, keeping them through this time. So that's where, I mean, to your point, we see it as a win-win on all levels, price point, content, and then you're also supporting local businesses.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many good points here. And I think like you and I both have small children, like we're trying to homeschool, run businesses. Like I never thought I would ever homeschool my whole life. So this should be really interesting when Mrs.
Thank
Brian.
God my mom's a former teacher, so that's a big help.
Yeah, so you're way above me. I'm just like, can't imagine, teacher broadcasting into our living room, but our first day is tomorrow. So wish me luck on that. But on a side note, there are, like you mentioned, a ton of people out there that are now working remotely and have extra time to learn self-care, educate themselves in certain areas that they've never had an opportunity before. So, for those people, and even for me, like I'm still, squeezing it in where I can, it's kind of this beautiful thing, like this unique opportunity that frankly, I hope we never have an opportunity like this again. But like, it's just a different way to connect with your audience, a different way to generate income for your business and support each other. And then, there's so much opportunity here. So I really like that you brought that up. And yes, there's not one size fits all for charging, but it is a good point of how they're not going to, incur other charges. And the audience will come up. The speakers can come from anywhere in the world. Like these events have the opportunity to maybe even be better than the ones that were going to be live. I mean, that's so cool. I mean,
it's exciting, right? When you look at it, it's exciting. And I think that's what we need right now. We need to take the time to find the opportunity that fires you up, that you have the capability to give to people right now. And there's so much, to your point, going on that people are like, people are losing their jobs. This is such a tough financial time. But we don't have, what about if you made more money during this time? What if, right? And a lot of that is how we ourselves mentally are strong and how we get creative during this time and not just pause. To your point, it's like sign up for other events, get better, learn a new skill set. All those things, this is the time.
Yes. And you're probably one of my best friends and colleagues when it comes to mindset and keeping a strong and strong and healthy, mind through all of this. Can you talk a little bit about what like your routine looks like to keep yourself strong, especially during times like this? But I mean, I know you do it, when it's like this and when it's not, but I think that you could really speak to, like, as a business owner, like your employees are employed, you're still running, you're still booking events, like, you're finding the opportunities that weren't there before, but like, that's like really difficult. And so how do you stay mentally strong? And maybe you could just kind of tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, let's be real. I do it, but it's a focus. Like I have to go there a lot of times, right? During this, yes, there have been some breakdowns, there have been some tears, and it's that fear. But once you realize, okay, this is just fear, let's face it, right? Let's combat the fear. Let's go after it and look at the opportunity. So a lot of it for me is first thing in the morning, right? I'm a big believer. I'm a big podcast listener. I do at least a half hour of podcasting a day, and I pick and choose the content I'm consuming. I would question you all to look at your social media. I've done it over the last week. And when you have those people and you're watching them and you're not feeling good about yourself, or you feel like it's too negative, goodbye. don't follow them anymore. Real simple. We control the content we consume. So that's a big piece for me, is really controlling the content we consume, not going, and watching the things that don't make me feel good or not making me feel positive about my situation. Our team, right? Yes, every Monday we do Motivation Monday. Everyone has to send out a positive quote for the entire team. And it's more about, okay, thinking in that positive mindset and starting your week that way, right? My husband and I, because we work together, yes, we're those crazy couples
you working together. You need to tell us about that right now. Just before you go into what you and your husband do, tell us like a little bit about your business, because I just love that you and Chris do this together.
Yeah, so we have owned the company together for, since the inception, and never thought we'd work together when we were dating and getting married. But here we are, right? Guru and sales, and then we've got the marketing and events, and it all just came together. And it's a lot of fun. You have to communicate better than you've ever wanted to communicate. But with that, it's an added challenge right now, for sure, because now we're home, and then there's the business in the home, the kids are in the home, and then there's husband and wife. So it's a fun challenge, but I will tell you, I get it. It wouldn't work for everyone. For us, it works. We communicate really well. When I'm not in that positive mindset, he pulls me right out of it. And it's kind of the yin and yang, right? Those that know us know we are totally yin and yang. Type A, right? High energy. And luckily he mellows me out and keeps me sane. But yes, I mean, that's an added element, but it's also an element that I feel makes us stronger, right? It's why we've been resilient, which is why we've been able to be creative, because we sit and have our wine at night and we talk, what can we do? How can we do this? What opportunities are out there? And things that I don't see, he sees. And things that I'm like, I would never thought that was an opportunity, he'll bring to the table. And a lot of time that's how it goes. He's a light bulb moment guy, and then I go and execute. But yeah, there's some of those who don't know our story about us working together. But yeah, and then I think, where was I at? I lost my train of thought. You were asking me.
I know, I totally interrupted you. It's that interviewer over here. So I interrupted you. You're saying what you and Chris do together to stay like a strong mindset. And then I interrupted you because I wanted everyone to know who Chris was.
Love it. Everyone should know. But yeah, no, and I think that's a big piece of it, is we literally make a list that morning that is, what can move the needle? What can help the situation today that is a must do? And then we do not stop. We do not turn off until those must do's are done, whether that be following up with clients, sending out a certain amount of new business development, right? Decks, making a list of new people that we need to reach out to, getting on the phone with people, and staying focused there, because it's easy to get distracted, especially right now with social media, with the news. That all goes off. And we have to focus. And once we get done with what can move the needle, things that we can pivot on, things that we can control, if you will, right? And that, it's amazing what that little piece does for you at the end of the day, to go, okay, I did something about it. Just mentally, what that does for us, to say, I controlled the situation, especially for type A's, like me, right? All those type A's out there, we need to know that we controlled something, or we can't control everything right now. But that's type A. Right. And then it's reading. To be honest, I've started reading, podcasting, and doing virtual chats with girlfriends that keep me in that positive space, where we're not sitting there hearing all the negative stuff right now, right? Because there's a lot of that out there. And so I just encourage all of us to be that light, to be that positivity for people right now, because there's just not enough of it out there right now.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't agree more. I participated in a Wine Wednesday last week. Yeah. I was like, this is so much fun. Like, I'm in my cozies, I'm seeing my girlfriends, my kids are asleep. Like, I might have to keep this going on. I got to connect with my friends all over the country instead of just who lived next door to me. Like, it was actually a blast.
So you're pivoting to virtual as well.
I know, right? Interesting. Now, Kari, before we go into answering questions, I want you to just maybe recap, like, explain to the group once again, like, how to know if they should reach out to you today to figure out how to go and produce a virtual event.
Absolutely. I mean, there is a lot out there. Don't kid yourself. There's a lot of platforms. We have the capability to go from a small event up to literally thousands of people, where they were turning a 3-day or a 4-day conference into a virtual. And that's obviously much more extensive with a whole production team. It is like a big, big deal. Think of like producing for ESPN and Fox and those guys and the networks. It's at that level. But the big things you want to ask yourself is, one, do I have the audience? Do I have the content? Content is key right now. What is my message and how can I get it out to people? If you're struggling with that, then yes, we're your call, right? I'm happy to take calls and turn you on to something that maybe not necessarily our company can do for you, because you need to do it at a smaller event, smaller scale, if you will, to start right now. But we're a resource for you. And we'll be honest with you to tell you, hey, you know what? You can go do this on your own. Here's the platform to go and help you there. I mean, we're back. Like I said, we're all in this together. We're here to help. And if it is something that you want to take to that next level and you've got sponsors, you need that human interaction, and you need those breakout sessions. You need those online, real-time question and answer. You need to do swag bags. Yes, we have all those capabilities. We have our team. We even do stage design. If anyone's interested in that, I can show you that. But we've helped people design their virtual stage, which is super fun as well. So they're not losing that wow moment from their live event. But I would just say, I would question everyone, whether you do have an event, I would really challenge you to pivot, to really turn to virtual, postpone, don't cancel. Think of all the people within the events industry that this is touching right now, that aren't able to do their live events, that have been canceled for months, and give back to those guys, to those small business owners. We really are a big advocate of that and are trying to do the same for ourselves. And stay positive, right? Come out with those positive messages, help other people pivot, help other people figure out, how do I navigate this right now? And don't pause. Don't get frozen in fear. Really think about how you can help. And if we're able to help you do that, please reach out. We're happy to do so. And we're all in this together.
Oh my gosh, we are all in this together. And I'm going through just looking at all of the questions right now so that we can get those. So as I'm like eyeballing off to the side, I'm reading comments. Okay, so the first one was good, because I liked that you mentioned this, and towards the beginning is, can you talk more about the green screen filter that is available for these virtual events?
Yeah, so if those of you who don't know, maybe you've seen on the news, I don't know if you've ever seen like the weather girl, when she stands and there's a green screen behind her, and everything, then when you see it on television, it's not green screen, right? They typically stand in front of a green screen, and then all of the graphics and all the elements that you see on the TV are just digitally put on there. And that's what I was referring to. If we can send these to your clients that are going to speak, they just stand just like how I am right now. I would have literally a green screen behind me, and then we could put that person at the beach. We could put them in New York City. We are having fun with an event doing that, just because it's all places people can't get to right now. So it's kind of fun.
Right.
But then we can also put your branding behind and your sponsorship behind. So it's an easy way to make it look really custom, and making sure your sponsors have that branding, if you will.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's so valuable, because that's a huge part of being at a live event, is to be able to do that. And you're right, you can have like so much fun with that.
Yeah, right? You gotta have fun with it, right?
I know. Right, provide like a totally unique experience for the end user. Now, is there another question that came up? Is there a magic number in terms of how many people to be at one of these events makes it powerful?
That's a good question. So on the numbers, that will also determine the scale of virtual event that you're going to do, right? Based off of what your numbers are going to be. And then from there, that's really why what I brought up, which is those breakout sessions or breakout rooms, so people can go and network that way, or hear content from those specific areas, just like you would a lot of conferences that you go to, and there's breakout sessions, and you can handpick, right? People like to pick what content they want to consume versus being told this is what you're going to consume. Just like kids, right? Your kids don't want that either. I want to do math right now, Mom. Do not teach me language arts. It's the same thing. right? Adults do the same thing. They go to an event and they want to pick what content. So then we like to break those out into smaller groups. It kind of depends on your event, how much Q&A you want to do. So if you want a heavy Q&A, we want to take your numbers down smaller. If you want to get to more people's questions, where if you've got thousands on and your Q&A is 20 minutes, you're not going to get to that many of those people. So then oftentimes we do recommend breaking out your questions into the smaller groups because they have a better chance of getting their question answered.
Yeah. And that's so smart. Like that, the breakout rooms, and I mean, it offers the networking, the better attention to each attendee. That's a really powerful thing that you're, able to offer them. Now, the other question that came up was lead time to produce like a big event. So just curious as to, clearly every event's different. It depends what momentum was kind of picking up beforehand, but what kind of lead time are people looking at right now?
Yeah, I would say we've gotten it all. We have some who literally don't have much time, right? And I feel it and I hear it, and I would say that's one of the things that eFactor does best is, as I always used to say, right? We're gamers. We just jump in and we make it happen.
Right.
We always call it #GSD, but I won't cuss on your podcast or your right now. You can figure out what done.
We don't get flagged over here.
Right? I won't do it. But yes, it's really about how quickly can you move. I will tell you, we have the platform ready to go quickly. One of the things that we also offer, and we do for some of our clients, because they want to make sure that their speakers, if they can't be in person, have the right equipment. We actually do loan out the equipment. So we ship it to them so that they have the good, strong equipment. We do a test run with the equipment. So typically that is a couple days leading up to, because in case, God forbid, there's an issue with equipment, we can ship new equipment out. The longest I'm seeing right now is a month. The shortest I'm seeing, it's about 2 weeks. Some have asked to get it done quicker. If they're at that level and they're the big conferences, it's a little too fast, because you want to make sure you test it. And we're doing it at a production level, right? We need to make those graphics. We want to test when you're doing at that level, because you want to make sure everything runs really smooth. Now, on the smaller scale, we can make it happen much quicker. But on that level, especially if they want to do swag bags, we'll move as quickly as they want to move, because I feel for people if they need to pivot right now.
Right.
But the majority, about 3 to 4 weeks is what people are taking to do it right.
Yeah. And, and a good point here is that, you pre-sell these events, right? So for those people that are thinking, oh my gosh, I have to produce an event in 3 days, right? You can go to market to sell it and produce it in a couple of weeks so it can be done correctly. Am I right?
Yeah. And you know what? People are okay with you postponing. It's not that people aren't losing their interest, or they get the situation. So you have to understand that it's okay to say, hey, you know what, we're going to move this to a virtual, but we want to do it right for you. So here, we're going to put this as our new date. And it's not like you're going to be, people are traveling. It's not like, oh, now I can't attend. And so that's the nice part. And with the virtual, right, Michelle, is that you can replay. That is the beauty of it too. And for people, we've gotten this question as well, I've seen, is people are asking, well, after you do it, then is the replay available to everyone? No, you can control who gets your replay. So if people have paid and they can't come to it live, they can go to the replay, but you still have to pay to get that, right? Some people will release after the fact one session or one element to drive attendance for future events, but you can control your content. It can live in a hidden space on your website or a hidden URL that only those who have paid have access to. But that's also the beauty versus a live event. You've cut your cost. Now you have it, and you can use it to replay. You can use it to sell again. And that content, it's there and it's yours.
Yeah, that is the replay feature is so powerful. I mean, that is a really important part of this. And there's so many resources online to host it. Like you said, like it's an easy thing for these business owners to capitalize on. Now, and I want to just bring up one thing that we talk about, but I want to explain it, is event production versus someone putting on like this webinar. Because when you say event production, like, you have a full team. And just so that everybody understands, like, just for me to put on this 5-day summit, I cannot tell you how many pieces I had to put together. I had emails going out. I had speaker emails going out. I had speaker engagement. Speaker interviews. I upgraded my StreamYard so I could have, all the features that everyone's, enjoying right now. I mean, the time is massive. And, this event in comparison to what you can produce, I mean, it's just so different. And so just from, this one business owner putting on this event, I mean, gosh, I would have loved a team. That would have been really helpful. So maybe you could talk about a little bit about like what roles your event production teams take on so that those listening understand how full service done for you this can be.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we look at it when it's like when you're thinking event production, it's really what we do for a live event. And we just literally transfer it over to a virtual event. So that's everything from your show producer. You've got, the person who's doing all the graphics we talk about, that edit in all your scrolling graphics, your branding. You've got your audio guy. You've got the guy handling all your switching capabilities, right? Switching from speakers, switching to people asking questions. And then we start the same way with a full run of show. And we run it like we run a live event. So it's really at that level that very similar to what you're seeing broadcast wise, right? They have a run of show, just like when you watch a sporting event or when you watch an award show, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. A lot of those do now broadcast virtually. So it's just the same as you're thinking there. And it's event production meetings. It's the swag bags. It's the same as what we've done before, putting those together, still having the collateral that you need, printing that out, sending it to your clients, either virtually or there. It's all your speakers, right? There's a lot there, sending them out their speaker gifts, sending them out their speaker packets that they know how, making sure they have all the digital content they need to promote your event, right? In this day and age, you're getting more eyeballs on your digital marketing. It's just how it is. People are home. And so making sure that your speakers, we have graphic design capabilities. We create those images for them, for their stories, for their feeds, right? And leveraging every platform, because just like how you are with your speakers, that's the reach. And if we're not doing that, then we're not helping the event. And so there's a whole strategy around that, whether it be from the speakers to the event production to your run of show. We are your full event production team. And just like with our live events where people hand it over to us so that they can just show up for their people and worry about their content, it's the same way. Let us handle all the behind the scenes, and you show up poised with your energy, clear-headed for your people. I always say it's the duck, right? The duck above water is our client, calm, cool, collected, the feet paddling underneath. That's E-Factor. That's us. We're getting the job done for them so that they show up in the right way.
That's an amazing mental image right now. Like now I think everybody understands it. Kari, this was an absolutely amazing 45 minutes with you. And for everybody listening, hopefully you are listening from our private group, Thrive in Uncertainty. If you're not, below you'll see my banner going. Please join the group, because in the group is where you're going to receive all of the bonus content. Like today, Kari shared a great handout on how you can identify if your business is ready for one of her events. She is available to contact today to help you make that decision. And if you do move forward with Kari, I can absolutely 100% promise you it's going to be the best event your business has ever done. I have seen her do some incredible things, and I'm so grateful, Kari, that you jumped on today to help other businesses and make this summit just kick it off on the right foot. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. And I'll be tuning in all week as well. And we're all in this together. Let's stay positive and think of ways to pivot. If you need to brainstorm, I'm here to help. But let's all pivot through this and come out stronger than we are today.
I love it. Pivot to profit. Let's do it. Thank you, Kari.
Thanks, Michelle. Have a good day.
Bye.